I am a 34-year-old co-pilot with 8 years of experience in commercial aviation. I have dealt with turbulent situations, technical problems, and emergency landings. However, the incident on the routine international flight last month was something beyond my expectation. It was nasty initially. Captain Lewis, a senior pilot with decades of experience, was unexpectedly bad at controlling his nerves and fussing before takeoff. The captain was fidgety and checked the equipment again and again, even when he could just touch and go. He was talking to himself at the same time, with a tight look on his face. I wrote it off as tiredness and got busy with my duties. There were over 200 passengers on board, so everything had to go smoothly. About an hour into the flight, I observed that Lewis was disconnecting the autopilot again and again. He was always in a hurry to bypass the system and take control of the plane manually, even when it was unnecessary. His hands were shaking a little bit, and he was sweating even though the temperature inside the plane was cool. I asked if he felt all right. "I'm fine," he snapped, his eyes going to the cockpit door. "Just keep looking for anything out of the ordinary," he said, almost as though it was an afterthought. It was a red signal for me. I interrogated further, but he didn't bother listening to me, mumbling something about saboteurs. Nervous, I kept a close watch on him. My heart broke when he finally switched off the radio, which was connected to the air traffic controllers. "Captain, why did you cut communications?" I asked in a calm voice. His countenance was intimidating as he looked at me. "You're not getting it, are you? They are trying to nip our project in the bud. An obstruction to us would be a godsend to them," he said. I had no idea what he meant, but his paranoia was spinning. I secretly reconnected the radio and contacted the air traffic control. My message was short, but the answer gave me goosebumps. "Captain Lewis?" He was the one who was under investigation for erratic behavior last month. It was cleared because of a paperwork error. "Is everything okay up there?" I looked at Lewis, who was now talking to himself, and sometimes looking at me as if I was the bad guy. My heart started to race. If I did not act fast, we might be all in danger. As we got closer to the descent, things got really scary. Out of nowhere, Lewis pushed the throttle to full power, making the plane dive steeply. Passengers screamed as the aircraft moved violently. "Captain, what are you doing?" I shouted and grabbed the controls. "You will be grateful to me later," he said, his voice strangely calm. "We are saving them." With my adrenaline pumping, I struggled with him, using all the strength I could muster to return the plane to the correct flight path. It was a frightening fight, but I managed to overpower him. I turned on the autopilot again and radioed an emergency alert to the ground control. And when we finally landed, the cabin burst into applause, unaware of how close we had been to a calamity. Security rushed the cockpit, ripping Lewis out as he babbled about missions and betrayals. Later on, I discovered the extent of his mental condition. He had been diagnosed with extreme paranoia, but got away with it because of a clerical error. It made me question everything: our safety procedures, the very system we rely on for our lives, and how easily things could go wrong. I still hear his voice in my head sometimes, that strange calmness before he attempted to murder us all. It's a reminder that flying is not always just a routine, and danger can be much closer than you have probably thought. My name is Mark. I'm 40 years old, and I have served as a co-pilot in small charter trips for more than 10 years now. Flying is not just my job, it is my passion. I thought I had experienced everything in the skies, but the incident that took place during a routine flight from Portland to Denver still haunts me. It was a pretty quiet morning, and we had just 5 passengers on board, a small group of business travelers, and one man who immediately stood out. He sat in the very back wearing sunglasses and a worn-out leather jacket. Something about him seemed suspicious to me. To the flight attendant's inquiry whether the passenger wanted coffee, he just ignored her and rebuffed her like she was invisible. We took off in a very smooth manner, and everything was regular until about an hour into the flight. The flight attendant, Lisa, entered into the cockpit, her face white. "Mark, the man in the back, he's gone." "Gone? Where? Is he still in the plane?" "I don't know. The pilots?" I'm freaking out right now. "What do you mean, gone?" I asked, my voice tightening. "I mean he's not in his seat. I've checked everywhere. He's not in the bathroom either." I looked at the captain, who slightly proclaimed his surprise by raising his eyebrow, but he continued staying focused on the controls. I saw the inside cabin monitor that was for a live network to the passenger section. As I went through every row and each seat, there was no indication of him. His sunglasses were left on the tray table, but he had vanished. Panic touched me. Could he have fallen out? I asked, though the idea of such a thing seemed ridiculous. The captain swung his head. "No way. The doors are sealed and we're mid-flight." The tears in Lisa's voice revealed the aching truth. If not, then where is he? I swear I saw him during the safety briefing. We informed air traffic control of our situation and they declared an emergency with ATC. The captain then instructed me to recheck the cargo manifest and the plane for other compartments to be sure. However, with everything in such an unclear condition, I wouldn't be able to leave the cockpit. My guts gave me the kicking, reminding me that we were going to land in peace with the puzzle still unsolved. During landing in Denver, law enforcement surrounded the plane. Every passenger was under police vigilance. They questioned every part of it. It was as if he had left us by creating just that, into the void. Then the investigators confirmed to us the heart-wrenching fact. The man staying in the rear part of the plane was far more than a passenger. He was a wanted criminal. As per information that was revealed, he had disguised the fact that he was in the plane by using a dummy ticket and well-timed movements to deceive the security system. As we were compiling the sequence of what could have happened, he must have gone to the cargo hold, certainly hidden there before takeoff. He outsmarted all of us by just stealthily sneaking out into the wind almost unnoticed. Even now, I cannot stop racking my brains over the flight. Every single unoccupied place, every time of quietness speaks like we were all outwitted. I wasn't only piloting a plane that day. I, unbeknownst to me, became a partner in crime for a man on the run. I'm awake at night because the thought of what else might have gone undetected haunts me. It's not the skies anymore that I get horrified. It's the things we accept as the things that are the safest ones in our environment that do me now. I'm Sarah, a 28-year-old co-pilot in Colorado Springs. In the habit of daily flying, it was that morning when we were preparing for a domestic flight to Dallas when we stopped for checking him. In physical search, security got this diplomat. It was obviously an ex-post, from his smooth black briefcase and manner. But still, he was claiming that it would be classified and it could never be revealed. Due to the kind of detail provided, they let him through and he continued on his way. There was something strange about him, but I could convince myself that it wouldn't be my problem. The flight got off the ground efficiently, and the mood of the crew was very quiet, but I was still very worried about the man in case his behavior became suspicious. The briefcase was taken by him to the lavatory so many times, and he stayed so much long. The cabin crew started gossiping about it, but they decided not to stir up the passengers. I could not get rid of the impression that some are things not right with him. After an hour of flight, pandemonium just broke loose in the cabin. I heard the shouting and the urgent pounding on the cockpit door and panicked. Strangely, a view from the camera showed the victim flight attendant being attacked by the man. He was forcing a hatch to access the cargo area. My adrenaline shot up, but the body calmly responded. The captain and I decided to lock the cockpit while we rerouted the flight to the nearest airport. Last seconds were hours to me. After our successful landing, the heavily armed officers hit the plane, but they did not inflict any harm on the passengers. They arrested the man and took his briefcase as evidence. I was deeply frozen when I came across the weapons they have discovered in it. He has been successful in getting to a hidden shipment of them in the cargo hold. Nevertheless, the images of the near-death scenario followed me on that trip. Had we been 1 millimeter away from the disaster? I am confrontative in repeating to myself, how about if he had been able to escape? The contemplations about these what-ifs drain me every night.